Every time you open your refrigerator, that smell is waiting for you. Sour, stale, slightly rotten. Maybe it disappears after a few seconds, or maybe it clings to everything inside, turning even fresh food into something unpleasant. You wipe the shelves, throw away leftovers, and place a box of baking soda in the corner. But somehow, the odor always comes back. And according to Japanese cleaning experts, the problem is not usually the food itself. It is what is hiding underneath it. Most refrigerators that smell bad are not actually dirty in obvious ways. From the outside, they look perfectly normal. But deep inside the rubber door seals, drain holes, and narrow air vents, moisture and microscopic food particles slowly begin to collect. Over time, bacteria feed on that hidden buildup and release gases that spread through the entire refrigerator every time the door closes. And the worst part is that some of the most common cleaning methods people use are actually trapping those odors even deeper without realizing it. In Japan, kitchen space is often much smaller than in many Western homes. Refrigerators are compact, tightly organized, and opened constantly throughout the day to store fresh ingredients, prepared meals, seafood, vegetables, and fermented foods with naturally strong aromas. Yet despite this, lingering refrigerator odors are surprisingly uncommon in many Japanese households. The reason is not expensive appliances or chemical cleaning products. It comes down to maintenance habits that focus on preventing odors before they have a chance to spread. Walk into a Japanese home appliance store or even a small apartment kitchen in Tokyo, and you will notice something interesting. Many households treat refrigerator cleaning as part of a daily routine rather than a large monthly chore. Small spills are cleaned immediately. Moisture is never allowed to sit for long periods. And most importantly, Japanese cleaning methods focus on neutralizing odors instead of simply covering them up. But there is one specific technique many people outside Japan rarely use. A method so simple that most people completely overlook it, even though the ingredients are probably already sitting somewhere in their kitchen right now. Most people assume refrigerator odors come from spoiled leftovers or expired food containers. But in reality, the smell usually starts long before food becomes visibly rotten. Inside every refrigerator, moisture constantly moves through the air as the temperature changes each time the door opens and closes. That moisture mixes with tiny food particles, oils, sauces, and invisible grease that slowly collect in hidden areas most people never clean properly. The rubber seals around the refrigerator door are one of the biggest problem zones. Small amounts of condensation become trapped inside the folds, creating the perfect environment for bacteria and mold growth. The drain hole near the back of many refrigerators can also become clogged with food residue over time, allowing stagnant water and odor-producing bacteria to build up unnoticed for weeks or even months. And then there are the air vents. Every modern refrigerator relies on internal airflow to circulate cold air evenly throughout the appliance. But once odor molecules begin moving through those vents, the smell spreads into every shelf, drawer, and food container inside. That is why even fresh food can begin absorbing unpleasant odors surprisingly quickly. The refrigerator may look clean on the surface, but underneath, an invisible cycle of moisture, bacteria, and trapped gases could already be spreading every single day. When refrigerator odors start becoming noticeable, most people immediately reach for the strongest cleaning product they can find. Bleach sprays, heavily scented cleaners, air fresheners, even perfume-based disinfectants. The problem is that these products usually do not remove the source of the smell. They simply overwhelm it temporarily with stronger chemicals. In some cases, they can even leave behind residues that mix with moisture and food particles, creating an even worse odor over time. One of the biggest mistakes people make is only cleaning visible surfaces. The shelves may look spotless, but underneath the drawers, inside the rubber door seals and around the drain system, bacteria continue feeding on trapped organic buildup completely untouched. Some people also wipe refrigerators with dry paper towels, which often spread grease and bacteria instead of lifting them away properly. Another common mistake is ignoring moisture completely. In Japanese cleaning culture, controlling moisture is considered just as important as removing dirt itself. Even a small amount of trapped condensation can accelerate bacterial growth inside enclosed spaces. That means every time the refrigerator door closes, odor molecules continue circulating through the air again and again. And the longer that cycle continues, the harder the smell becomes to remove permanently. So what do many Japanese households actually use to remove refrigerator odors without harsh chemicals? Surprisingly, the method is almost unbelievably simple. Instead of trying to cover smells with artificial fragrances, the focus is placed on neutralizing odor molecules at their source, while eliminating the moisture and bacteria feeding them in the first place. The process begins with warm water and a small amount of plain dish soap to break down grease and invisible food residue hiding on shelves, seals, and interior surfaces. But the real secret comes afterward. In many Japanese homes, natural odor absorbers like activated charcoal, coffee grounds, or baking soda are placed strategically inside the refrigerator to continuously pull odor molecules out of the air before they spread. Activated charcoal is especially popular because of its microscopic porous structure, which traps odor particles instead of masking them. Some Japanese refrigerator deodorizers are built entirely around this principle. Combined with proper airflow and moisture control, the method gradually removes the source of the smell itself, rather than temporarily hiding it for a few hours. And unlike chemical sprays that simply flood the refrigerator with artificial scent, this approach leaves the air inside smelling completely neutral, clean without smelling like anything at all. The first step is to completely empty the refrigerator. Remove every shelf, drawer, and container so hidden spills and moisture cannot remain trapped underneath. In many Japanese homes, this process is done regularly in small sections, rather than waiting for the refrigerator to become heavily contaminated with odors. Next, mix warm water with a few drops of plain dish soap. Avoid heavily scented cleaners or bleach-based products. Using a soft microfiber cloth, gently wipe every interior surface, paying close attention to the corners, shelf tracks, and especially the rubber door seals, where moisture and bacteria collect most easily. If the seals feel slippery or sticky, that buildup is likely contributing to the smell. Then, inspect the drain hole near the back wall of the refrigerator. Many people never clean this area, even though stagnant water trapped inside can become one of the biggest odor sources. A cotton swab or small soft brush is usually enough to remove hidden residue. Once the surfaces are fully dry, place a small container of activated charcoal, coffee grounds, or baking soda inside the refrigerator. In Japanese kitchens, odor absorbers are often placed near airflow paths, so circulating air continuously passes through them. Finally, organize food with enough spacing for air to move freely between containers. Good airflow is one of the most important parts of preventing odors from returning again. The reason this Japanese method works so effectively comes down to simple chemistry and airflow. Most refrigerator odors are made of tiny airborne molecules released by bacteria, spoiled food particles, oils, and trapped moisture. Once those molecules begin circulating through the refrigerator's ventilation system, the smell spreads into every corner of the appliance. Simply masking the odor with scented sprays does not remove those particles from the air. It only temporarily hides them. Activated charcoal works differently. Under a microscope, charcoal is filled with millions of tiny pores that create an enormous surface area capable of trapping odor molecules as air passes through it. Instead of covering smells, it physically absorbs and holds the particles responsible for them. This is the same principle used in many high-end air and water filtration systems throughout Japan. Dish soap also plays an important role. The molecules inside soap bond with grease and oils, while water carries them away from surfaces. That matters because thin layers of invisible grease inside refrigerators often trap bacteria and odor-producing residue even after shelves appear visually clean. But perhaps the most important factor is moisture control. Bacteria thrive in damp, enclosed environments. By fully drying surfaces, improving airflow, and preventing condensation buildup, the Japanese method removes the conditions that allow odors to keep returning in the first place. Behind this cleaning method is a much deeper philosophy that shapes the way many Japanese households care for everyday objects. In Japan, cleanliness is often viewed less as a reaction to visible dirt and more as a form of continuous maintenance. Instead of waiting for a problem to become severe, small habits are repeated consistently to prevent the problem from appearing in the first place. This mindset is closely connected to the Japanese concept of mottainai, a feeling of regret over waste. Allowing food to spoil because of poor refrigerator hygiene or replacing appliances damaged by neglect is seen as unnecessary waste that could have been avoided through simple daily care. That is why many Japanese kitchens focus heavily on organization, airflow, and immediate cleanup of spills before moisture and bacteria have time to spread. Even refrigerator storage reflects this philosophy. Containers are often sealed carefully, food is rotated frequently, and shelves are kept uncluttered so air can circulate properly. Nothing is left forgotten in the back for weeks at a time. The goal is not perfection, it is consistency, and that may be the real reason these methods work so well. The Japanese approach is not built around miracle products or aggressive chemicals. It is built around small habits repeated every day until cleanliness becomes automatic. A bad refrigerator smell may seem like a small annoyance at first, but over time, the hidden consequences can become surprisingly expensive. Once odor-causing bacteria begin spreading through a refrigerator, they can shorten the lifespan of fresh ingredients by accelerating spoilage and contaminating nearby food with unwanted smells and moisture. Fruits absorb odors from vegetables. Dairy absorbs odors from leftovers, and even sealed containers can slowly pick up unpleasant scents circulating through the air. In many cases, people end up throwing away food long before it actually expires, simply because it smells or tastes wrong. Over the course of a year, that waste can add up to hundreds of dollars in lost groceries without most households even realizing it. And the longer moisture and bacteria remain trapped inside the appliance, the harder the refrigerator has to work to maintain stable cooling conditions. Japanese appliance technicians often emphasize that poor maintenance can also affect airflow systems, drain lines, and internal circulation over time. Excess moisture buildup may contribute to mold growth behind panels and vents that most owners never inspect. What begins as a simple odor problem can gradually turn into a hygiene issue affecting the entire kitchen environment. That is why the Japanese method focuses on prevention instead of temporary fixes. Eliminating odors early is far easier than trying to remove years of trapped bacteria and moisture later on. If you want your refrigerator to stay completely odor-free, there are a few habits you should stop immediately. The first is spraying strong chemical cleaners directly inside the refrigerator. Products containing bleach, artificial fragrance, or harsh disinfectants may temporarily overpower bad smells, but they often leave behind chemical residue that mixes with moisture and food particles over time. Second, stop placing warm food directly into the refrigerator uncovered. As hot food cools, it releases condensation that increases moisture inside the appliance, creating the perfect environment for bacteria and odor buildup. Third, Never ignore the rubber door seals. Even refrigerators that appear spotless can trap grease, mold, and stagnant moisture deep inside those folds. In many cases, the smell people notice every time they open the door is actually coming from the seals themselves. Fourth, avoid overcrowding shelves. Japanese kitchen organization focuses heavily on airflow because trapped air allows odor molecules to concentrate and spread much faster throughout enclosed spaces. And finally, stop waiting until the refrigerator smells bad before cleaning it. By the time odors become noticeable, bacteria and moisture have usually been building up silently for weeks. Small weekly maintenance is far more effective than large deep cleaning sessions done only a few times each year. The Japanese approach to refrigerator cleaning is not complicated. There are no expensive chemicals, no powerful sprays, and no secret products hidden behind marketing. Just simple habits focused on moisture control, airflow, and consistency. And sometimes, those small daily habits make the biggest difference over time. If you found this useful, subscribe for more practical Japanese methods that make everyday life cleaner, simpler, and more efficient.